Welcome to Beyond the Blue Planet, the podcast where we explore the history of space exploration. I'm Domenica, and in this episode, we'll discuss one of the most dramatic space missions in history, Apollo 13. A mission that was on the brink of disaster but became a testament to resilience, ingenuity, and human bravery. We will dive into every tense moment, from the explosion that put the astronauts' lives in danger to the incredible rescue operation led by NASA. Get ready for a story of survival in space. On April 11, 1970, the Apollo 13 mission launched from Kennedy Space Center. The crew consisted of Jim Lovell, commander, Jack Swigert, command module pilot, and Fred Hayes, lunar module pilot. At first, everything seemed to go according to plan, but soon the first signs of trouble appeared. One of the high-gain antennas malfunctioned, and minor electrical issues were reported. Nothing seemed too serious, but fate had different plans for Apollo 13. As the spacecraft traveled toward the moon, the astronauts conducted scientific experiments and routine tests. During one of these tests, Jack Swigert was instructed to stir the oxygen tanks to keep the liquid from stratifying. What no one knew was that one of these tanks had a manufacturing defect that would prove catastrophic. 55 hours after launch, the spacecraft was en route to the moon when suddenly, a loud explosion rocked the vessel. Houston, we have a problem. What happened was an explosion in one of the oxygen tanks in the service module, which caused a power failure and severely impacted the spacecraft's ability to sustain the crew. Within seconds, the astronauts found themselves in a critical situation. Without electrical power, the command module could no longer support life for long. NASA and the crew had to make quick decisions. To conserve oxygen and power, the astronauts moved to the Aquarius lunar module, which was designed for 2 people and only for a few days. Now it had to sustain 3 astronauts for the rest of the mission. The cold became unbearable. Temperatures dropped to just above freezing, water was scarce, and the buildup of carbon dioxide became a real threat. On Earth, engineers worked tirelessly to find solutions. With limited resources on board, NASA had to improvise. One of the most iconic moments occurred when mission controllers had to create a carbon dioxide filtration system using only materials available to the astronauts. It was a brilliant feat of engineering that saved their lives. The Apollo 13 crew couldn't simply turn around and return. Instead, they had to use the moon's gravity to slingshot back to Earth on an emergency trajectory. Each course correction was a critical operation executed with precision to ensure the spacecraft re-entered Earth's atmosphere at the correct angle. A miscalculation of just a few degrees could mean the destruction of the spacecraft. Finally, the moment of re-entry arrived. For several minutes, communication with the spacecraft was lost as they passed through the atmosphere. On Earth, everyone waited in silence. The tension was unbearable. When Swigert's voice was finally heard from the command module, cheers erupted in NASA's mission control. Apollo 13 had made it home. Apollo 13 could have been a disaster, but it became one of the most inspiring stories in space exploration. Thanks to ingenuity, preparation, and collaboration between the astronauts and NASA, what could have been a tragedy turned into a triumph of survival. In our next episode, we will talk about Skylab, America's first space station. If you enjoyed this episode, share it and follow us. See you on the next mission.